Good day everyone, I am Joel P. Cabrera and I will discuss the continuation of Ms. Burgos' report about the diagnostic process. So, the next step in the diagnostic process is specifying target clients. So, after identifying the problem areas, both the client and the consultant agree on the intended clients. The answer to the question, who are the clients most and least affected by these problems, must be addressed, and the reasons for the choice have to be enumerated. Next step is selecting appropriate change intervention strategies. When we say intervention, these are the programs and the processes designed to solve a specific problem. So, the importance of this is it will help you solve a specific problem and is designed to enable management and improve organization functioning. So, let me just briefly discuss to you the intervention classification and types. So, first is human process intervention. So, it focuses on uh, the behaviors of the employees in order to make improvements on the organization. Next is techno-structural intervention. So, this classification targets the structural and technological issues. For example, the organizational design, work design, and employee engagement. Next is human resource management interventions. This intervention aims to improve the whole organization through the uh, improvement of the team members or the employees' performances, dedication, and flexibility. And last is the strategic interventions. It involves a deliberate attempt to move the organizations towards a more effective state and improve performance through the emotional patterns of the employees. Here are the examples of interventions. So, first is Delphi technique. It is a well-established approach to answering a research question through the identification of a consensus view across subject experts. It allows for reflection among the participants who are able to nuance and reconsider their opinion based on the anonymized opinion of others. So one of the strengths of this intervention is it offers a flexible approach to gathering the views of the participants who are involved. Although, the downside of this intervention is that it can be complex and time consuming, and we all know that time is a very valuable asset for every and any organization. Next is Ishikawa technique. So, Ishikawa technique shows the causes of an event and is often used in manufacturing and product development to outline the different steps in a process, demonstrate where quality control issues might arise, and determine which resources are required at specific times. So, uh, Ishikawa diagram was developed by Kaoru Ishikawa during the 1960s. So it is also used to show the causal factors that go into some final outcome, often related to a production or design problem. It is sometimes referred to as fishbone diagrams because the diagram, when you see an example of this, is shaped somewhat like a fish, and the charts in it are sometimes called as Fishikawa diagrams. Next is Pareto diagram. Pareto diagram is a type of chart that contains both bars and a line graph where individual values are represented in descending order by bars and the cumulative total is represented by the line. So the lengths of the bars represent frequency or cost and are arranged with the longest on the left and the shortest to the right. In this way, the chart visually depicts the which situations are more significant. So it is used when analyzing data about the frequency of problems or causes in a process. So down to the last two steps in the diagnostic process are determining the degree of change attained and implementing the change. So in determining the degree of change attained, the parameters for change may have to be clearly delineated. So when we say delineated, it means to describe. These include laying down the specific measures and the desired degree of change. The data may be either quantitative, qualitative, or both. The last step is implementing the change. Once the organization development interventions have been identified and the degree of change have been determined, change is now executed. So a monitoring system is simultaneously put into place in order to monitor if the change can help the organization, or whether if it will have any positive impact or on the organization. A feedback mechanism is always necessary for optimum improvement. So feedback can consist of series of meetings between the consultant and the members of the organization, during which the consultant presents the data analysis and the parties discuss and interpret the data. So enough of the diagnostic process. Let us now move on to collecting and analyzing diagnostic information. So another important aspect of the change process is data collection. There are varieties of way in which an organization can collect data. These are the plotting questionnaires, conducting interviews, observing, holding informal group session, and gathering unobtrusive data. Unobtrusive data. When we say unobtrusive, it means not attracting any attention. So it is called unobtrusive data because the methodology used uh, allows the data gatherers to gather all the needed information, all the needed data without interfering with the members of the organization. So it is important. It is crucial that the data to be gathered and the information are accurate and sufficient enough to make the necessary inferences or conclusion. The data collection involves the following: a clear definition of the objectives of the program to determine relevant information, an accurate identification of significant variables involved in the given situation. This can be both qualitative and quantitative. Appropriate collection and use of data gathering techniques. The consultant can use primary or secondary data or both. In collecting data, the consultant has to answer the following questions. Are the data valid? In other words, are the data collected appropriate? Because the consultant doesn't need any information or any data that is irrelevant for the situation. How long will it take to gather the desired information? How much is the cost of the information? So also the longer the data collection takes, of course the cost needed to execute that data collection is also increasing. What data gathering techniques are best suited to the organization's culture? To what extent will the process of collecting diagnostic information affect the organization members? So we know that in unobtrusive data, the organization members were not interfered in the data collection. Every diagnostic process requires and entails thoroughness and accuracy in carrying out each problem-solving activity. So after discussing the diagnostic process, we can infer or conclude that all the data needed to be gathered must be precise, sufficient, and correct in order to maximize its effect for the improvement of the organization. Analyzing diagnostic information. So there are different ways of summarizing and analyzing data. Both qualitative and quantitative tools can be used. The more popular qualitative techniques are through content and force field analysis, while quantitative techniques include determining statistical measures like means and standard deviations, presenting frequency distributions and scatter diagrams, and testing for significant differences and relations. So when it comes to numerical data and statistics, I think it is best to use the quantitative techniques. So here are the qualitative tools and the quantitative tools.